They had everything. Millions in the bank. Mansions sprawling across acres of pristine land. Supercars worth more than most houses. Private jets waiting on runways. Then it all vanished. Mike Tyson earned $400 million during his boxing career and lost every single penny. Nicolas Cage owned 15 mansions, a private island, and a dinosaur skull. Then went bankrupt. 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of retirement. 78% of NFL players face severe financial distress within 2 years of leaving the league. How does someone with more money than most people will see in 10 lifetimes end up with absolutely nothing? The answer will disturb you, because the same psychological trap that destroyed them is probably destroying you right now, even if you're not rich yet. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because what you're about to discover will fundamentally change how you think about money, wealth, and financial survival. Act 1. The illusion of permanence. Here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. Wealth doesn't make you financially intelligent. It just amplifies who you already are. When someone suddenly acquires substantial wealth, whether through inheritance, a lucrative athletic contract, lottery winnings, or entrepreneurial success, their brain undergoes what psychologists call the wealth delusion. They begin operating under a catastrophic assumption. This abundance is permanent. Let me take you inside Mike Tyson's spending habits. For $0.5 million on cars and jewelry in a single month, a $2 million bathtub, $140,000 for 2 Bengal tigers, plus $125,000 annually just to maintain them. Not because he was stupid. Mike Tyson is actually highly intelligent. But because when you have $30 million sitting in your account, your entire perception of value becomes completely distorted. A $50,000 purchase feels like pocket change. The psychological anchor that keeps most people grounded, the visceral fear of running out, completely dissolves. Researchers at the University of Cambridge studied lottery winners and discovered something fascinating. Within the first 6 months of receiving their windfall, their spending patterns become indistinguishable from gambling addicts. The dopamine rush from acquisition overrides all rational decision-making. They're not buying things. They're chasing the feeling of limitless possibility. But here's what nobody calculates during the euphoria. Wealth has an expiration date. Your earning window is finite. Your career peak lasts maybe 10 to 15 years if you're exceptionally fortunate. Your lifestyle expenses? Those become infinite. They grow exponentially, developing their own momentum. And that mathematical discrepancy creates a financial black hole that even millions cannot escape. The tragedy isn't losing money. The tragedy is that it happens with mathematical precision, following the same pattern every single time, which means it's completely preventable if you understand the mechanisms. Act 2. The 5 silent killers. 5 invisible forces systematically dismantle fortunes. And unless you understand them, you're vulnerable too, whether you have millions now or you're building toward them. Killer number 1. Lifestyle inflation, the hedonistic treadmill. The moment your income increases, your expenses mysteriously inflate to match it, and then exceed it. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill, and it's one of the most destructive forces in personal finance. You upgrade your apartment, then your car, then your entire wardrobe, then your social circle shifts, and suddenly you're surrounded by people who expect expensive dinners, exclusive vacations, premium everything. Your baseline for normal completely resets. 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, earned $260 million from music endorsements and his vitamin water investment, then declared bankruptcy, not from one catastrophic decision, but from 10,000 small ones. The $5,000 monthly maintenance on a 52-room mansion he barely used. An entourage of 30 people on permanent payroll. Private jets for every trip instead of first-class tickets. 18 luxury cars depreciating in garages. Death by 1,000 luxury cuts. Here's the insidious part. Each individual expense seems justified. I can afford it becomes the most dangerous phrase in personal finance. Because afford is measured against current wealth, not future sustainability. Nobody asks, can I afford this for the next 30 years when my income stops? Killer number 2. The entourage effect. Manufactured dependency. Suddenly, everyone needs you. Your cousin has a guaranteed business opportunity that just needs $200,000 seed money. Your childhood friend needs a loan to avoid foreclosure. Your parents want a house. They raised you. After all, your siblings need cars. Your romantic partner expects a certain lifestyle. You can afford it. Why are you being cheap? Saying no makes you the villain. You're labeled selfish, ungrateful, arrogant. So you say yes. Again, and again, and again. And here's the sinister part. These aren't strangers exploiting you. These are people you genuinely love. Family members who supported you before success. Friends who were there during struggles. Which makes it psychologically impossible to cut them off until there's nothing left to give. Allen Iverson earned $200 million and supported over 50 people simultaneously. family, friends, childhood acquaintances. He couldn't say no. His monthly expenses exceeded $360,000 during retirement, with no income to sustain it. The people he supported became dependent. He became trapped in a financial prison of his own generosity. The mathematics are brutal. If you support 10 people at $50,000 annually each, that's $500,000 per year. After taxes on a $5 million fortune, you're broke in 7 years. And you can't stop, because now 10 families depend on your continued wealth. Killer number 3. Financial illiteracy meets predatory advisors. You know what's worse than being broke? Being rich and financially illiterate. Because now you're a target. Unscrupulous financial advisors who charge outrageous fees. Tax avoidance schemes that create catastrophic future liabilities. High-risk investments in businesses you don't understand. Real estate ventures with hidden debt structures. Ponzi schemes disguised as exclusive opportunities. Johnny Depp trusted his financial advisors completely. They managed $650 million of his career earnings. Through systematic mismanagement, fraudulent investments, unauthorized loans, and undisclosed conflict of interest, they destroyed his entire fortune. He wasn't stupid. He was simply wealthy and uninformed. The most dangerous combination imaginable. Here's what happens. You're busy with your career, acting, performing, competing. You hire someone to handle the money stuff. You sign documents without reading them. You approve investments without understanding them. You trust completely. And parasites, disguised as professionals, systematically drain your wealth while generating fees for themselves. The warning signs are always there. Vague explanations, complex structures you don't understand, resistance to transparency, investments that seem too good to be true. But financial illiteracy makes you blind to danger. Killer number 4. Tax bombs, the delayed devastation. Here's something almost nobody understands until it destroys them. Taxes don't disappear when you stop earning. They compound. Wesley Snipes earned over $60 million from films like Blade. He went to prison, not for spending too much, but for failing to pay $15 million in taxes. The IRS doesn't forget. They don't negotiate. They don't care that your income stopped. When you earn $10 million in a year, you owe approximately $4 million in taxes. But that bill doesn't arrive until the following year. If you've already spent $8 million on lifestyle and investments, you don't have $4 million liquid. So you borrow, or you ignore it. And the penalties compound at catastrophic rates, 25% annually plus interest. Athletes are especially vulnerable. They earn massive contracts paid over 5 years. They spend accordingly. Then their careers end unexpectedly. Injury, age, performance decline. The income stops, but the tax obligations from previous years remain. And suddenly, they owe millions they don't have. The IRS becomes your permanent creditor. They seize assets, garnish future earnings, destroy credit. All because you didn't preserve 40% of every dollar for the inevitable reckoning. Killer number 5. The immortality delusion, zero exit strategy. Rich people go broke because they plan like they'll earn forever. No exit strategy. No endgame. No concept of enough. Professional athletes have an average career span of 3 to 5 years. Their earning window is tiny. But they structure their lives as though million-dollar salaries are permanent. They buy assets with perpetual maintenance costs. They create dependencies that require continuous cash flow. They never ask the fundamental question, what happens when this stops? MC Hammer earned $33 million at his peak. He employed 200 people. He bought a $30 million mansion that cost $500,000 monthly to maintain. His music career lasted approximately 4 years at that income level. He structured his life for perpetual peak earnings. When the music stopped, the mathematics became impossible. Bankruptcy was inevitable. The wealthy who stay wealthy operate differently. They ask, if my income disappeared tomorrow, how long could I maintain my lifestyle? They build sufficient passive income streams to sustain their expenses indefinitely. They plan for decline, obsolescence, and irrelevance. They design exit strategies before entering. Everyone else hopes permanence is real. Then reality arrives. Act 3. The mathematics of ruin. Let's talk numbers. Because this is where the fantasy collides with mathematical reality. Imagine you suddenly acquire $10 million. Sounds infinite, right? Let's calculate what actually happens. Federal and state taxes immediately consume $4 million. You're starting with $6 million liquid capital. You purchase a $4 million house because you're successful now and you deserve it. But nobody mentions the property taxes, $80,000 annually. Insurance, $25,000 annually. Maintenance, landscaping, utilities, staff, another $100,000 annually. That house costs $205,000 every year just to exist. 3 luxury vehicles, $300,000 purchase price. Insurance and maintenance, $30,000 annually. Supporting 5 family members at modest $40,000 each, $200,000 annually. Personal lifestyle expenses, food, entertainment, travel, clothing, healthcare, $500,000 annually. This isn't extravagant. This is just living at the level your peer group expects. Investment losses from bad advice or failed ventures. $800,000 over 3 years. Let's calculate. You started with $6 million liquid. You spent $4.6 million on the house and cars. You have $1.4 million remaining. Your annual burn rate is $935,000. You're broke in 18 months, but you don't realize you're broke because you still own the mansion. You still have the cars. You look wealthy, so you borrow against your assets to maintain the lifestyle. Now you're not just broke, you're in debt. The mansion becomes a prison you can't afford to maintain or sell. The cars become liabilities you can't unload without massive losses. This isn't hypothetical. This is the documented pattern of every broke millionaire. The timeline varies. Some stretch it to 5 years through creative borrowing, but the destination is identical. Act 4. The Survivor's Blueprint. So how do you break the cycle? How do the rare few preserve their fortunes? 7 non-negotiable principles that separate temporary wealth from permanent prosperity. Principle 1. Treat windfalls as temporary, the finite window. Every dollar you earn could be your last career dollar. Structure your entire life, assuming your income could disappear tomorrow. Because it can. Injury. Industry collapse. Technological disruption. Scandal. Irrelevance. The wealthy who survive act like their earning window is closing today. They preserve capital aggressively. They live below their means indefinitely. They never rely on continued income. Principle 2. The 50-30-20 preservation rule. Before you touch a penny of any windfall or high income, implement this structure. 50% immediately gets invested in diversified, low-risk assets you cannot easily access. Index funds, bonds, real estate investment trusts. Money you will not touch for 20 years minimum. 30% goes into liquid emergency reserves, high-yield savings, money market accounts. This is your buffer against catastrophe. 20% and only 20% is available for lifestyle. That's your spending money. That's what you can enjoy. That's your upper limit. This isn't deprivation. This is mathematics. This ensures that even if you make every possible mistake with your spending money, 80% of your wealth remains protected. Principle 3. Automate preservation. Remove willpower. Don't rely on discipline. Discipline fails under pressure, temptation, and emotional manipulation. Automate everything. Set up irrevocable trusts. Establish automated investment accounts that withdraw funds before you see them. Create legal structures that prevent impulse access. Make it difficult, intentionally, strategically difficult, to destroy your wealth. Shaquille O'Neal attributes his financial success to one decision. He automated his savings and investments before he could develop expensive habits. He never saw most of his earnings. They went directly into protected accounts. He lived on a fraction of his income. Today, decades after retirement, he's wealthier than during his playing career. Principle 4. Educate yourself relentlessly. Financial literacy as survival. Financial literacy isn't optional when you have money. It's survival. Read every contract. Understand every investment. Question every advisor. Verify every expense. If you can't explain an investment to a 12-year-old, you don't understand it, which means you shouldn't invest in it. Spend 1 hour daily studying finance, tax strategy, investment principles, and wealth preservation. Make it non-negotiable. Your financial education is more valuable than any investment return. The millionaires who stay millionaires can explain their entire financial situation in detail. They know where every dollar is. They understand every investment vehicle. They're not geniuses, they're simply educated. Principle 5. Build sustainable income streams. Passive revenue. Wealth isn't about accumulation. It's about cash flow. The goal isn't having $10 million. It's generating $500,000 annually without working. Invest in assets that produce income. Dividend stocks, rental properties, business equity, royalties, licensing deals. Structure your wealth to replace your salary permanently. Your target, passive income that covers your lifestyle expenses indefinitely. Once you reach that threshold, you're financially immortal. Market crashes don't destroy you because you're not selling assets. You're living on the income they generate. Principle 6. The entourage audit. Strategic generosity. You cannot save everyone. Attempting to do so destroys everyone, including yourself. Establish clear boundaries. You will help family with education, medical emergencies, and genuine crises. You will not fund lifestyles, bail out bad decisions repeatedly, or support manufacturer dependency. Create education funds for nieces and nephews. Offer to match money saved for down payments. Provide opportunities, not cash. Teach financial principles instead of distributing money. Real generosity creates independence. False generosity creates permanent dependence that eventually collapses. Principle 7. Define enough, the exit number. What's your number? The amount that, properly managed, sustains your desired lifestyle forever. For most people, $5 million invested conservatively generates $200,000 annually indefinitely. Is that enough? Then stop chasing more. Protect what you have. The wealthiest people who go broke never define enough. They kept expanding, acquiring, spending, because no amount ever felt sufficient. The hedonic treadmill has no destination. Define your enough. Reach it. Then shift from accumulation to preservation. This is how generational wealth is built. Here's the dark truth that nobody wants to acknowledge. Most people secretly believe they'd be the exception. I'd be smarter. I wouldn't make those mistakes. I'd handle it differently. But the data is absolute. The pattern is universal. Rich people go broke at predictable rates following predictable patterns. Intelligence doesn't protect you. Talent doesn't protect you. Good intentions don't protect you. Only systems protect you. Only structure protects you. Only financial literacy and automated preservation protect you. Wealth doesn't corrupt people. It reveals them. It amplifies their existing relationship with money, discipline, and self-control. If you're financially reckless with $50,000, you'll be catastrophically reckless with $50 million. The zeros just accelerate the destruction. The dark side of money isn't money itself. It's the psychological delusion that abundance equals permanence. It's the belief that the rules of mathematics don't apply to you. It's the assumption that your earning window is infinite. The millionaires who stay millionaires, they live like they're broke. They automate their preservation. They educate themselves constantly. They surround themselves with fiduciary advisors, not friends pretending to be experts. They understand that wealth is fragile, temporary, and requires eternal vigilance. The question isn't whether you'll get rich. The question is whether you'll stay that way. Because on the dark side of money, the second part is infinitely harder than the first. Wealth is a test most people fail. Will you be the exception? Subscribe to Dark Side of Money, where financial truth destroys comfortable lies. Because the only thing more dangerous than poverty is unprepared wealth.